this? Touch some sky. Okay. So the reverse of the Kimora is the Americana, right? And people really like this move because the thing about the Americana is it's a super short lock. If I slam this on somebody, boom, you know, I'm getting the tap right now. That's all there is to it. There's no rolling around, no nothing. But the problem with the Americana is that it's so bent on keeping these angles to 90 degree here to 90 degree here and not letting him close this angle at all. Whenever I teach the Americana, I say, slap on the Americana and drop your elbow on the floor and put it on his ear, okay? I'll show you guys why. When I do this, I make it impossible for him to close this angle. See that? That's all he needs to do to defend this. Okay, so and some guys try to do this, and then they're like, why does this never work? Why have I never gotten a single person in the world with this? It's because this angle's closed here, and I can do this all day and nothing happens. You guys see that? But if I keep this here like this, I get the tap every time. Does that make sense? So, the reason why the Kimora is, why there's no Americana trap system, is because of this angle. This is all bent on keeping him on the floor. Have you ever seen somebody Kimora like that? Not really.
No.
I actually have by Cobrinha, but like it's impossible. Not impossible. He's just going to drop his elbow or close this to his head, and there's no lock anymore, right? Does that make sense?
What about the standing Kimora, though?
Kimora are talking about.
Oh, okay, of course, yeah.
So this is the exact opposite with the Kimora. With the Kimora, I'm going to get him going all kinds of different ways. But the problem is, or the benefit for me is that I can follow him and the angle doesn't have to be perfect. So if you guys don't have a perfect Kimora, stuff like this will happen. His back will come off the mat, he can come here. But the Kimora is so powerful and so useful that I'm just going to keep this going. Roll. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I can really go anywhere. Stand up for a second. Come on like this. Here, Kimora. You know what I mean? You can go anywhere until you get the right position. Does that make sense? So you can go anywhere. So we're gonna really exploit that here. I think that's what they're calling like the Kimora.
That's exactly what they're calling it, the Kimora system, yeah.
Come down for a second. Let's talk about my good side. Okay.
I would do that.
So if guys are a lot bigger than you, they will slap this on here, and this is not something to be taken lightly. They will rip your shoulder off. No fun for anyone. But if you're smaller, or even if you're big, you can still do this. But the point is that you can't, if a guy gets a Kimora on you, anywhere at any point at any time, it doesn't matter. You have to respect it because it's so versatile. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here's the Kimora trap system. For me, if Nick was twice as big as he is, there's not really a chance I'm going to be able to finish it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? His arms are going to be huge. I'm little, I'm weak, frail. Just can't do it. So there's all kinds of different things that he can do, exploiting the fact that the Kimora is so versatile.
So even if you're a much smaller guy and you lock it on and you can't finish it from there, you're not going to abandon it.
No, oh God, no. Here's tip number one. You get the Kimora, don't ever let it go.
No matter the size difference or strength difference, you get it, you keep it.
Ever. Okay, so here's one. What I'm going to do is drop my, or let's just do the basic Kimora here first, actually. So, when I get here, especially if the guy has the gi, what he wants to do is he's going to grab cloth, or if he doesn't have the gi, he's going to grab his leg and stuff, you know, and then this becomes a whole lot more difficult. Does that seem familiar?
Sure.
So the first thing I do when I get here is I drop my elbow, same way I was on his ear, I drop it on his hip. Because now I use the skeletal strength of my bone, which is like infinity, to block his hand from coming in. It's got nothing to do with my strength at all. It just has to do with there's a bone in the way there, right? So I keep his hand here. Go ahead, put your hand on your clothes, or grab your knee or whatever. See how he can?
Big detail.
But it doesn't cost me anything. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Exactly the same thing as on the ear with the Kimora, right? It's just my bone. So this is going to save you so much time later. You always have to keep in mind that you can't let this happen at all because you're just going to do this. And then this is a battle you don't want to fight, especially you. The next thing, really I'm bending his arm the way it's not supposed to go and attacking his rotator cuff. So we're going to think about his arm as a lever, which is a force multiplier. If I want to get the most torque at a point, I'm going to go to the end of the lever. Does that make sense? Like a crowbar, you know how you, or a wrench, the higher you go up, the more torque you get on the other end. Does that make sense? So this is particularly important for small guys. What I'm going to do here, yes, I have the Kimora lock on, but he's going to vouch for me in a second and tell you how much more scary this becomes. I'm going to shoot my elbow up of my left hand here, my left arm, to his elbow. So I go from here to here. Okay? So if I'm putting pressure way down here like this, like yeah, there's a little bit of pressure. But how much more scary is this? A lot more, right? So putting these two things together, I'm dropping my elbow in the hip here, and I'm taking this elbow and I'm trying to put it right up here, right to his elbow. Trying to keep in mind the 90 degrees everywhere. Okay? So I'm here, drop this, don't ever remove this, bring it up here. I can bring this all up here, and now I'm ready. I can legitimately try to finish him here. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. So I can try to finish him here like this, or I can, do any number of variations where I
step your foot behind his head, your free foot?
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. Okay. For me personally, I don't love that move. Usually what I do here is I get them to straighten their arm out and attack the straight arm lock here. I always do that.
And is that considered part of the Kimora trap system, the straight arm lock, or not really?
Not really, but zeroing on the defense, if I had this loose and he was to just turn his arm to an Americana, he's safe, right? So I just exploit that, follow him, catch him halfway, and put the arm lock on. That's what I do. But if I want to do, I can step over his head here, and now, he's in a lot of trouble. I can finish this no problem. You know what I mean? But with this,
and you can roll right over to your back there.
Yeah, I was trying.
And still finish it.
So, but if you just want to finish it here, all I'm doing is getting my weight high on his chest. Keep in mind of my base and lift this back here. It's way, way, way more powerful if you block here and get to the end of the lever. Does that make sense to everybody? Is anybody doing that already, or is that new?
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I was saying, well, that's how Draculino shows it to come down closer to. Normally, I always thought to be higher up to the shoulder, and Draculino said no, it come down to the elbow. Well, that was a month and a half ago, and I couldn't convey it the way you did.
Cool. So I'm just doing this exact same thing. Maybe I'm here in half guard or whatever. I'm gonna take his hand and push it down. Like a lot of the times, you can think about this. I'm underhook crossface. He's doing something he shouldn't be, maybe holding me here. I can switch. See, I push my body forward, capture, elbow right down, connect your lock right away, don't ever let it go. Okay? Now I can take my elbow way up to his. I'm gonna get my chest, or my weight on his chest. Get my elbow to the end of the lever.
Now, John, I've been reversed in a tournament one time from half guard from that same position, and I believe it's because I didn't get my weight proper and I didn't get my other leg out. I kept my other leg tight to his hip.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But even if you did, it's so powerful, you're just gonna re-roll.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind.
Stay on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because just because he comes to the top.
Yeah.
But be careful of not letting
arm lock.
Not letting go of your half guard. If I was to get reversed theoretically,
yeah.
I can beat. I let it go. See?
Yeah.
Here. If I was to let go of the Kimora, or here, put the Kimora on me, and try to finish and then reverse yourself. If his half guard's open,
yes,
I'm gonna step out, and then I'm gonna come
right to the arm lock.
around his head for the arm lock.
Yeah.
Right. So if you get reversed, keep the arm lock back.
As long as you got leg control, you're cool. But as soon as you lose leg control, abort it.
He should be trying to step around.
Yeah.
If he did,
And he should abort it at that point. Keep your arm on. Okay.
Does that make sense? Absolutely. You want to get a shot?
Definitely.